Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. This is Thigh Company here. We're live here on the Thigh Company YouTube channel on this evening of August the 21st, 2025, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome, everybody, to the live stream. So for tonight's live stream here, we're talking about the Sped sister new update here, how Sped's sister destroyed her car. So that's going to be fun, right? So basically, for those of you who have not been keeping up with the Sped Sister series, here's what's been going on with her. She, a long time ago, was trying to pretty much get a car, right? So we found, I think it was a Nissan for her. And basically, she didn't have enough money to buy the car. So my mom, for some reason, decided to get this car at a dealership, which I guess is all right. But she got it at a dealership, and they had to do financing because my sister didn't have no money. And so they did the financing. She bought the car. About a year or so later, she decided to move out of state up to Virginia. And from there, I believe she was living there kind of on and off her next couple years with a boyfriend, and then they broke up, which I think we've talked about that as well before on the channel, that whole situation. But she lives now with this other family. Really, it's something else. It's a very Sped situation, but Chapa knows what I'm talking about. I don't know how much detail I can talk about it here, other than we have come to believe that family was sort of abusing that car, or abusing the right or the ability to use that Nissan, that car of my sister's. So about a year or so go by when she's living with this new family, and all of a sudden she is calling my grandmother, talking about how this car won't run, it won't drive. And another thing that she's been doing is she's been doing these like occasional long trips where she'll drive 6 to 8 hours on the road from far off in Virginia back to here in North Carolina. And it's basically, very long distance, basically, what's going on there. So one basically from the coast of Virginia to more inland in North Carolina. Because that's why you get 6 to 8 hours. So she's doing it a lot, and eventually what happens is her car's transmission goes out. And instead of, being proactive about this whole situation, she asked the husband, the male of that family, to basically go fix my car. And he makes himself to be this big shot guy who's a mechanic, who in reality doesn't know a thing about the cars. Okay? He said it was the transmission. Who knows if it was really the transmission or not. He said it was the transmission. And, my Sped sister, believing him, decided to lodge that idea of it being a transmission deep in her head, in her memory, and not ever consider it being possibly something else. Okay? So that's, a fatal flaw there. Besides that, what ends up happening is that she goes to some mechanic, tells the mechanic already what's wrong with the car without having them diagnose what's wrong on their own end. So basically, who she found as a mechanic, I don't know. I think this secondary party, this second mechanic, decided that, okay, we're going to go with the transmission story. And they came up with this crazy idea that basically she's going to have to get a different transmission. And then what's going to happen is they take out the old transmission, and they're going to put in, instead of a new transmission, a new good working transmission, what they're going to do is they're going to rebuild a different transmission. Who knows what that happened to that other transmission. So the original is bad. Okay, take it out. And then they're going to put in a different used one. And this different used one is not even one that's in good working order. They're going to take this other used one and rebuild it to make it back into working order, versus it fixing up the old one or getting a new one. They're going to get a third different old one. Okay? So that's how sped that is, right? So she doesn't tell us anything about this. Months go by. We fly out to Russia and we come back to Russia. We don't know what's going on. Several months have passed by during the summer, right? Turns out all this time she is without a car. Okay? So how is she getting transportation, you might ask? The next thing that happens is that she turns out this family she's living with, has a car all of a sudden. Why were they using her car? I don't know. They don't allow her to use their car. That's the other weird sped situation. Why is it that they can use her car, but she cannot, vice versa, use their car? Isn't that a very interesting question to ask? Then, on top of them forbidding her, Sped's sister, to use this car of theirs, they require that they drive this car to take Sped's sister over somewhere, which can mean one of two things. They're really finessing her, or Sped's sister has become a very bad driver, and they've noticed that she's a very bad driver. Because she's a very bad driver, they don't trust her tearing up their vehicle. Okay? So either way, somebody is, finessing something here, right? So basically that's the first chunk of the story. The next part is this mechanic. The second mechanic tells a price to Sped's sister. Sped's sister's afraid to tell us what's going on, how much it costs for a transmission. So instead of addressing the whole issue, what she starts doing is she starts partying. She starts going to this disco, right? A club, disco club, I guess, is what she's been calling it. Really, it's a club. It's a bar. People drink, they dance, and get drunk. That's really, in reality, what's going on. But she's not telling us that. She don't want to reveal the truth. Okay. After that, the other thing that she does is she starts asking us for money. Okay. She doesn't tell us what's wrong with the car. She doesn't tell us that her car is broken down. After months later, we finally find out when the truth's going to come out, right? About her car. And first thing she does is she lies to my grandmother that it's going to cost $2,000. In reality, this mechanic quoted her $5,600 plus, meaning that it could go even higher. So she tells us, I think it was $2,000, and we ended up sending her $2,400, $2,400. We send that over, and this big scandal of a cashier's check, right? I decided to get a cashier's check, so it's basically insured by the bank. Okay? She's like, oh, I need you to send me through Cash App, send me through Venmo. I want you to download some program you've never heard of and send money that way to me. I know it's impossible for you to do the app, but I'm gonna give you a headache of trying to get you to send money to me, but I need you to send money to me. That's basically what she's doing here in this case. And from there, another thing that she starts doing is she starts getting in touch with my mom. A couple weeks pass by, so it's about nearly $3,000 at this point, so $2,800. I don't know if they sent any other amount of money, so who knows? But at least we could say a good 3,000. Okay, not counting also previous money that we sent her too. I don't know what my grandparents have done. I don't know what my mom's done. I don't know who else has given her money. Any other parties? Maybe her friends gave her money. I don't know. Turns out she calls later, and when they have this discussion with my mom and my grandmother, that basically she's been spending all this money on everything but fixing up this car. That gets my grandma furious. Okay. Turns out what she's been doing is spending all this money at discos, bars, clubs, towards this other family, buying this other family food so they can eat. I mean, if the husband, if that other family's working, I don't know about the wife. The wife could be a stay-at-home mom. I don't know. So basically, she's sending our money to feed this other family, their kids. And on top of that, there was a previous discussion ahead of time where we agreed that, hey, if you are in at basically going hungry, there's food pantries. Like I go to food pantries occasionally to help out my grandparents because they need help. That sister ain't doing any of that. Okay, she wants the easy way out of this. Okay, so and then eventually we push this idea that she needs to get a job, and this might be another separate story for a different video we cover in the future. But basically, she needs to get a job, right? So she can get money to fix up her car. Okay, she starts telling us that she's going to get a job. Then she starts saying she's going to get 2 jobs. Then she says she's going to get 3 jobs. Okay, supposedly 3 jobs to get money to fix up this car. Okay, what ends up happening is she gets a job at some kind of park. Apparently, it's a state park. Like, you know how you have federal parks, and this is like a state park, okay? And this park is basically observing some park that's sort of like also a like a beach rest area. So she does all that. Okay, she gets a job doing that. Then she starts bragging about her getting a job at some kind of place called Wine and Art or something. I don't know the actual name of it. Basically, it's a place where she apparently becomes an instructor. You know, she's never completed any fine art classes. She's never done any kind of like degrees or anything. You know, no experience in drawing or painting. But hey, I'm going to be instructor, right? So, and she's never sold any artwork either. So I don't know if that helps to point out. But basically, she decides that this is some new job that where she gets to drink for free. That's what she keeps trying to emphasize in this. Basically, she's gonna, drink wine all the time, get drunk, and then paint whatever she can being drunk on a canvas, and get money for doing that. Apparently, so apparently that's her second job. The third job was something involving retail. Like she goes to a gift shop and she's selling stuff out of a gift shop. Okay. So these are apparently her 3 jobs. Some retail gift shop because it's a tourist area. Parks, recreation, if you want to call it that, parks and recreation. And this like wine and drinking thing. Okay. About a week, I think a week passes by, or maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month. I don't know. A couple of weeks, basically, a few weeks pass by, and she starts calling us and complaining that she hasn't got any money and that she hasn't received any payments from any of these 3 jobs that she's working at. And, my family's trying to figure out what's going on. Do you get paid bi-weekly? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? What's going on? And are you on a contract basis? Maybe you got to finish a project. I don't know. But she claims that none of these 3 jobs have paid her any money yet. Okay. Then she starts telling different stories that she got sick. Then she told my grandmother once that she got into the hospital. Then it turns out it wasn't her that got into the hospital. It was the wife slash lover, or whoever you want to call it, who got into the hospital because that wife has got all kinds of health issues. And apparently my sister decided that she's going to be a nanny. She's going to take care of the wife. She's going to take care of the kids. Now that family's calling her an aunt all of a sudden. So I don't know why that's happening, but apparently she's an aunt now. Then she gets a notice by text message that she gets basically fired from her parks and recreation job because she failed to come into work. She's basically no call, no show multiple times in a row type of situation. So she starts, not telling us that she got fired from this job. So she starts, complaining that she doesn't have money to pay the loan on the car, the monthly payments that you have to make when you get a loan, an auto loan. So she stops paying this auto loan. but because it's joint name, her name and my mom's name. My mom starts getting letters from where the loan is made from, the financial institution, talking about, hey, you haven't paid payment. This is going to be a late payment. You're becoming a delinquent payer. So that's unfortunately, that started freaking my mom out because my mom was not happy about this whole situation, not giving any heads up, no communication whatsoever, not answering phone calls, not answering text messages, no other forms of communication, no way to get in touch with Sped's sister. So I was like, I'm not going to let her. I'm not going to let her impact my credit score. I don't want my credit score going down. So I'm going to go ahead and pay off the auto loan. Last I heard, my mom was trying to pay the auto loan, and for some reason, payment wasn't going through. So we don't know what's going on there yet. We'll find out. I'm thinking that she's going to get it paid off, but I don't know. Who knows what's going on because Sped's sister's done disappeared again. She got into an argument with my grandmother talking about, I want to live here. I want to live my life. I don't want to go back to North Carolina. I can't stand any men in my life. Yeah, she's got a this quote unquote boyfriend. This not even a boyfriend, lover, male lover, whatever you want to call it. I want to practice polygamy and all kinds of crazy stuff. So she's gone sped to the deep end, man, at this point. But she's destroyed her car. She doesn't have enough money to pay for so the other thing is we asked her to go get additional quotes, go talk to other mechanics, figure out what else is going on with the car. Her story is that the car apparently now does not drive. Okay, so apparently she could drive from this house or apartment to this mechanic. I don't know how all that happened. Apparently that was a thing. But apparently this car cannot drive anymore, so she has to pay for towing services. So somebody will move her car for her. Okay. Why is this becoming a big crazy mess? And I talked to my uncle about this whole thing. My dad's brother, Sped dad's brother. And he's like, you should have never sent her money in the first place. All my friends are telling me you never should have sent her money in the first place. I told my grandma, and she agrees. My mom agrees. So we're all finally on the same board in this, on the same side, because my grandma sometimes starts feeling bad for my Sped sister, and I can tell her, no, let her, grow up. But grandmas are grandmas, so she sent money. But now everybody's on the same page where they won't send a penny more because of Sped sister's behavior. So we don't know if Sped sister is going to try to come down here to North Carolina. I don't know if a friend's going to take her. I don't know if they're going to fix the car at all. There has been a discussion about the possibility of her getting a new car, and we've been trying to figure out what will be better. Is it better for her to fix up this Nissan car and then maybe sell it, or keep that Nissan car? Do you sell it for the basically junk value, the value of the metal of the car, or whatever you want to call that? Do you buy a new car? If you buy a new car, what new car would you buy as a replacement? How much would that cost? So we've tried having that conversation. Of course, Sped's sister doesn't want to have any talk at all about any of that because she does not want to be financially responsible for anything. She wants to live off of somebody, in this case, kind of like what Sped Dad has been doing in the past. Maybe this is, the after effects of Sped Dad's brainwashing from years ago. Who knows, right? So that's basically been the new update in how Sped's sister has destroyed her car, guys. So yeah, guys, we go ahead and wrap this up right over here, guys. So guys, if you have not already done so, make sure you do subscribe to Thigh Company. Subscribe to Thigh Company Gaming. Hit the bell icon as well so you do get notifications for future gameplay videos, future shorts, live streams, channel updates, and other crazy stories, man, about Sped's sister. Maybe Sped Dad might come in the future. Who knows? Also, give this live stream a like. Give it a thumbs up as well. And comment down below as well, guys. What would you do in this situation? What would you do if you had a crazy family member who was doing all this nonsense, man? How would you fix this situation? What's your recommendation? Otherwise, guys, write it down below in the comments. This has been Thigh Company here, and we'll see you next one. Peace out and take care.